If you've never heard of SATS, it stands for State Akin to Sleep, and it's a term coined by Neville Goddard. And he talks about it in one of his books. It's almost like visualization, but at a very specific time. And honestly, in my opinion, it's the best time because it works. It worked for me. So basically, what it is that you're doing is as you're falling asleep, hence the state akin to sleep, you close your eyes and you visualize a scene of what it is that you want, right? Of your wish fulfilled, and you try to conjure up all the feelings in relation to it. And you just kind of replay that scene, perfect the scene, and replay that scene over and over in your head. When you were a kid, you might have did this, but in like a less extreme form, where you, if you were imaginative or creative, you like created a little story in your mind before you were going to sleep. Like I used to make little movies to be able to fall asleep to in my head. And you might even still do this. I don't. I'm a mom now. I don't now. But I try to do it consciously. And so the last time I did SATS was about a year and a half ago, and it was the very first time I did it. So I was watching this one channel called Malika is My Guardian Angel. You might be familiar with her. She makes pretty cool videos, and she talks about manifesting. And I remember that I saw the video about SATS and her explaining it, and I was like, I want to try this out. So for a little more context, November of the year prior, I had done this open mic event where I performed like a slam poem, and other people were performing poetry. And then at the very end, I was like, oh my God, they're calling to see, like last call to see who wants to come up on stage. So I looked at my friend, he was like, you're never gonna forgive yourself if you don't do it. Like, just go do it. So I was like, okay, fine, you're right, I'm gonna go do it. So I get up on stage, I did it. It was the very first time I got on stage with my poetry. I'd never done something like that before, so I was very nervous. And I just did it. I kind of bit the bullet, got it over with, and then I felt really proud of myself afterwards. But I was like, I want to like really build this muscle. I want to do this again. I just don't know how. I just don't know when. So sometime later, my son is sleeping right here. Well, he was sleeping. Yeah. Anyways, he's gonna probably go back to sleep soon. So my friend knew this, and he was like probably kind of scouting out for me, and I didn't know this. So one day I'm like on the electric bike and I'm like working out, and he calls me, and I like get off and I pick up and I'm like, what's up? And he's like, hey, listen, were you still interested in performing? And I'm like, yeah. So keep in mind, the last performance was in November. This time it's like January. And he's like, listen, so there's this event. It's for Black History Month. It's in February. And, you know, you're going to want to do this. And I'm like, okay. He goes, it's organized by this school thing. It's like called Students United in Minnesota or whatever. I can send it to you, and it's a paid thing. And I'm like, ooh, sounds good. So I fill it out. I'm sitting there telling myself, like, I really hope they accept me. I really hope they accept me. Less than a week later, I get accepted. They're like, you come perform. And I also cited my TikTok. I have a relatively successful TikTok for poetry. It's Mia the fourth, MIATHE4TH. I manifested that too. I have like about 18,000 followers on there, and I've reached 1 million likes. It's not very active anymore. I haven't been writing in a while. So I haven't been writing for a while. So because of that, I just, whatever. But you can go check it out and follow it if you want. So anyways, I cited that as like a kind of proof of this work that I do, and they're like, okay, yeah, sure, you can perform. So I go to perform, and then the night before that, I'm staying at the Marriott. And there's this dude that I knew, and I'm not gonna get into any details about it. But that night, I was like, I'm gonna close my eyes and I'm gonna envision in my mind that I get money. So I needed about $1,200 maybe. So I'm like counting bills and like falling asleep counting bills. Kid you not, like $100 bills. Next morning, I wake up, that dude gave me $800. That friend of mine, he just gave me $800. Was like, hey, listen, I wanted to give you something, and, I heard you said you want to go to New Orleans, and maybe, you could put this towards your trip. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And then the performance was paying about $300, so it's like $1,100, right? And I'm sure there was 100 somewhere in there that month that I didn't count. Basically ended up getting that $1,200 at some point or other during that whole month. So that $800 and that $300 check, and like I said, I'm sure I got another $100 at some point during the month. And I was just like, what the fuck? Because that was the one and only night I did it. The one and only night. The mind is extremely powerful. I want to start doing it again, but I figured if there's someone out there who wants to hear about it, who has never heard of state akin to sleep, who wants to give something like that a try, I mean, baby, it's not gonna hurt. It's really not gonna hurt. You should give it a try. Another thing about visualization is don't just personally. That time that I did it, I remember I had an intention. I had a solid intention, and that wasn't, oh, I'm just gonna visualize something. It was, I'm gonna visualize something, and it's gonna come true. And this is in relation to my real waking life. This isn't another one of those imaginative moments where I'm creating a little movie in my brain before I go to sleep. This is intentional work. This is spiritual work, you know, almost like a prayer. So have like that intention in your mind before you give this a try, and good luck. Bye-bye for me, my son. See, he fell asleep again. Told you.